I want to tell you that before you came here to this physical body, you put forth a manifesto, you put forth a quest, you put forth things that you wanted to do. You put forth a wish list. You said, these are the things that I would really like to learn or create or to love. And these are, it's a pretty, and if you think about it as a document, I mean, everything is a metaphor truly, but this document is a pretty hefty document. And your ability to cross the things off the list on that document might seem extremely random. We want to go back to the energy realm, crossing every single thing off that list, because that's how we will return with the greatest expansion in our vibrational energy. So what can we do on Earth to allow ourselves to cross as many things off those lists as we possibly can while we're here? The first thing that we can do is to practice our ability to think independently. Because from the moment that we're born, we are subjected to the ideas, good or bad or indifferent, and the misbeliefs and the universal truth that other people convey of every person that we come into contact with. And every radio program we listen to, and every TV show or advertisement, every store clerk, every hospital worker, everyone who comes into contact with us, verbally or non-verbally, is communicating their ideas of what is truth from the moment that we're touched. And the more we get a piece of information that's contrary to truth, the more we begin to believe it. So in certain family environments, we grow up believing that this is absolutely, positively true. And sometimes if it's a truth that can confine the growth of your, if it's an idea that can confine the growth of your soul, an adult might be able to break free of that misinformation and to understand truth. The only way to exercise our ability to know if we have these misbeliefs or if we're perceiving something to be true when it may actually be false is to question everything, everything, everything. If you start out doing it for a couple of days, it's exercising the muscle again. If you dedicate yourself to thinking independently for a couple of days, what you wind up doing is accidentally thinking independently for many, many days after that. And I'll give you an example, is how many people see all of the pharmaceutical ads that are on TV? I mean, you really can't miss them anymore. Maybe in the beginning, the first one would come on years ago when it was still a novelty, and you'd be thinking, oh, you know what? I did have that feeling in my stomach, you know, and I think I better run to my doctor because if he has the purple pills, it will eliminate this feeling that I had. And then the second one comes by, and you're like, well, yeah, oh, you know what? Aunt Mary was complaining of that. Let me talk to her, and she should go to her doctor. And so on, 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 and so on. Well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Are these new remedies so needed with so many people running to the doctors for them because the need existed? Or are the ads creating the focus, which is creating the symptom, which is creating the need? What came first, the chicken or the egg? I can't tell you that. I'm asking you to think independently. When you see something in the newspaper, is a red flag going up? What are your thoughts about it? Think independently. Don't digest the opinion of the journalist and make it your own opinion. Figure out what your opinion is. Are the pharmaceutical ads influencing the number of illnesses that people are experiencing on Earth, or is it helpful? You do the thinking yourself. I'm going to speak about something I haven't really spoken about in public because it might be controversial, but I just feel at this group that I can do this, and I probably won't ever speak about it in public again, but maybe I will, I don't really know. Recently, Now here, this is to go to prove that I know nothing about geography or history or current affairs or anything, so I can't use real people's names, but I'll try to give you ideas of who I'm talking about. Recently there was, I believe, a president from another country, and I believe it was the country of Iran. He was wanting to put a flower at the site of the World Trade Center, and he was prevented from doing that, apparently for logistical reasons. Then he wanted to be a speaker at an event, and he created a ton of controversy just for the idea that he would speak. Then he did speak, and the introducer kind of said quite a few unkind things about him before he was given the podium or the lectern to actually deliver his speech. And this is how he got up in front of United States of American citizens and began to express his opinion. Now, if you think independently and you think that the primary reason for us being here is to expand our own and others' ability to give and receive love, could you independently think of perhaps a slightly more productive response to this man's request to speak? I thought of something immediately. I said, well, what if we let him speak and we have the local public schools in Manhattan have the kids write letters. Have kids write letters about love, about what they believe in, about life, about things that, let them draw pictures of hearts and flowers. Let these kids express themselves the way we do so much within our own country for each other, especially when we receive any type of an internal tragedy. Let them bring these letters to him. When he gets up there, give him a hug, hand him the letters, make him feel welcome. Let him hear our ideas from our perspective. Let him feel for a moment as though he is accepted or even appreciated. Let him feel that love matters. I'm not saying we're going to change his mind. I'm not saying he's going to go back to his country and say, you know, oh my God, everything I ever said about the United States was wrong, and here's what you guys should know. It's not going to happen like that, but we might put a seed in a crack. If there's a crack, the seed is planted. If he goes home and he waters the seed in any way, there's a chance that a plant can grow. But what did we send him home with? Americans are full of hatred. And it helped him to marry his ideas, which I believe are largely false and not based on universal truth. It allowed him to steadfastly defend his position because of the hostility that we met him with. If we profess to love, and if we profess to believe in peace and freedom, then we have to act like people who do that. And we had an opportunity that we let slide. So in your life, and in my life, when those opportunities come in the smallest way, I take the opportunities. A good example would be when I was standing online in the grocery store, and the clerk, her hair was dyed black, and she had piercings all over her face and tattoos and all this stuff going on. And the woman in front of me, first of all, she never had eye contact with her, and she treated her really hostilely. Now, why she did that, I have no idea. She might have had a bad day. It might have had nothing to do with the clerk, but it wasn't a good experience for the clerk. So when I got up to my place online, I said, oh, that must have been rough on you, you know? Well, you know, it takes all kinds to make up a world. That's all I said. With this, she smiled at me, she talked to me, she was animated, she was smiling. It was like I saved her day, and she felt, what is it that we all want to feel more than anything in the world? She felt appreciated. She felt like a human being. I looked at her in the eyes. I don't care what she looks like, I really don't. She's a person, she has a soul song. She might hate the way I dress. I don't care. But every opportunity you get to expand someone's ability to grow in loving, giving or receiving love, you take the opportunity, whether it's big or small. Any questions? Anyway, don't tell anyone I told you that story about the president of Iran, because I don't want tomatoes and eggs all over my, my house or anything like that. But if anyone has any questions, we'll do questions and then take a little break, all right?
I think some people who responded to his speech were very troubled by his saying that the Holocaust was perhaps a myth.
Absolutely.
And they wanted to respond, perhaps not with love, that might allow that type of thinking to fester.
Yes.
So they may have overreacted, but in that overreaction came clarity that what he was professing was untrue.
I completely understand that perspective, and I know it's a little bit more complicated than what I discussed. But if we go back to the idea of the souls that perished during 9/11 and the value that their life on earth has created, the opportunities for people to grow in their ability to love, we can look at the people who perished in the Holocaust in the same way. Those souls are all in existence still, and they're still watching us and loving us and wanting to contact us and wanting to help direct us to taking an opportunity to grow in our ability to love. The Holocaust happened because of hatred. The only antidote to hatred is love. It doesn't matter for our personal journey whether or not the president of Iran recognizes that the Holocaust existed. What does matter is that we take the seeds of love and we continue to nurture them and give them all the light and love and water and nutrients that we possibly can. That's how the Holocaust will matter, not by changing people who have a false idea of its existence, not by changing their opinion.
Maybe you can also address an anti-war rally versus peace rally, and what the traces do you want.
Right. This is something that's really becoming a popular concept now, that people are beginning to recognize that the energy of an anti-war movement has a very different focus than the energy of a peace movement. This goes back to creating reality with our thought energy. If we're focusing on what we don't want, we will grow that which we do not want. But if we focus on what we do want, and the more soul's energy that is focusing on what it is that we do want, then that's what will expand. So that's a very, very good point. We focus on love. We don't focus on hatred. You can acknowledge hatred as it exists, but just use it as a catalyst for growing your ideas and your conversations about love. Don't dwell on it. Don't make it that 16th email. Just think about the other 15 emails that made you not like the 16th.